You are now listening to the Infinite Moment Podcast. Welcome to episode 2 of the Infinite Moment. I am your host, Ade, and in this podcast, I attempt to address the causes of and solutions to our everyday stress. I rely on articles and studies to gain an understanding on how stress affects every one of us and what our solutions are for best reducing it. Together we learn and are encouraged to implement the solutions that are revealed as we continue to broaden our understanding of stress. This podcast is powered by DissolveStress.com, so be sure to check that out for all your stress relief needs. Alright, in today's episode, we're going to take a look at the development of the stress response. Alright, so as always, we're going to take a look at a few articles. We have a few today that I want to take a look at that will help describe what the stress response is, how it's developed, how to keep it in balance and best maintain it. So this first article is by the Mayo Clinic, titled Stress Management. Okay, let's start here. Understanding the natural stress response. When you encounter a perceived threat such as a large dog barking at you during your morning walk, your hypothalamus, a tiny region at your brain's base, sets off an alarm system in your body. Through a combination of nerve and hormonal signals, this symptom prompts your adrenal glands, located atop your kidneys, to release a surge of hormones, including adrenaline and cortisol. Adrenaline increases your heart rate, elevates your blood pressure, and boosts energy supplies. Cortisol, the primary stress hormone, increases sugar, which is glucose, in the bloodstream, enhances your brain use of glucose, and increases the availability of substances that repair tissues. Cortisol also curbs functions that will be non-essential or harmful in a flight or fight situation. It alters the immune system responses and suppresses the digestive system, the reproductive system, and growth processes. This complex natural alarm system also communicates with the brain regions that control mood, motivation, and fear. Okay, so there's a explanation of what the natural stress response is. So it basically is letting you know in a fight or flight situation, which is when you have perceived a threat, your body is going to release several hormones, adrenaline and cortisol, which prepare you to be able to respond to a threat. Adrenaline is basically there to elevate your heart rate and your blood pressure. And then the cortisol pretty much alters your immune system responses and digestive system. Okay? So right here, it goes on to say, the body's stress response system is usually self-limiting. Once a perceived threat has passed, hormone levels return to normal. As adrenaline and cortisol levels drop, your heart rate and blood pressure return to baseline levels and other systems resume their regular activities. But when stressors are always present and you constantly feel under attack, that fight or flight reaction stays turned on. The long-term activation of the stress response system and the overexposure to cortisol and other stress hormones that follows can disrupt almost all your body's processes. This puts you at increased risk of many health problems, including anxiety, depression, digestive problems, headaches, muscle tension and pain, heart disease, heart attack, high blood pressure and stroke, sleep problems, weight gain, memory and concentration impairment. So you can see how many different ailments or states of imbalance within our body that a prolonged stress response, a prolonged release of adrenaline and cortisol can have on the body. Again, anxiety. How many of us face anxiety every day? Depression, digestive problems, headaches, Here's another one: muscle tension and pain. Okay, anxiety, muscle tension and pain, and sleep problems. Probably some of these conditions that almost all of us have felt at one time or another. And often it can be linked to stress. All right, so again, we can just see the importance of managing the stress response already. If we want to keep our body in balance and try to avoid some of these unhealthy conditions as much as possible, our best option for doing that is properly managing our stress. All right, so again, personally, I know I've felt anxiety. I've had sleep issues and definitely muscle tension as well. Now, I guess in one way or another I can link all that back to personal stress in my life. Some of it's just naturally going to take place. I mean, we can't avoid all stress, but we can properly manage it, which we will come to find the solutions for being able to do that later on. But again, I mean, how many people in the world would say they have experienced anxiety? I would say probably at one time or another, almost everyone on this planet has experienced anxiety. And many times, I'm sure it can be linked to some sort of perceived threat that's causing stress in our lives. Again, depression. I know many people have felt depression. Um, Again, all kind of stressors that can lead to that condition. Again, digestive problems, eating conditions, oftentimes linked to stress, headaches. I personally haven't really had ever experienced any issues with a headache unless I, physically hit my head, but really haven't had much with the headache, so I can't really speak to that. Muscle tension and pain for sure. Much of the muscle tension and pain comes from, just the everyday life, especially if you work in occupation that's hands-on and there's a lot of movement. But also sitting still at a desk, just sitting all day, you can get muscle tension and pains in your hands from being on computers all day. So there's many ways to experience muscle tension for sure, and I'm sure most of us has felt that within our lives. Another big one, a lot of people have experienced heart issues. I don't know how much of that is linked just to stress. I know there can be other issues that definitely lead to a lot of heart conditions, but not managing your stress properly can have an additional toll on heart conditions. Sleep problems, one of the biggest factors that most humans, I think, struggle with, which is a full, good, deep night of sleep. I really don't know many people who probably consider themselves to get the quality of sleep that they wish they would. Most of us, I don't think we probably sleep long enough nightly. And when we do, it's probably not in the best type of sleep, like a deep sleep. A lot of people are light sleepers, and that comes from stress as well. Being on edge, not being able to slow the mind down, or not properly taking the steps to slow the mind down. Weight gain. Personally, I'm not someone who's experienced many issues with weight. Possibly actually putting on weight more so than losing weight, but yeah, that's another one that stress can affect weight gain in general. And then there's also memory and concentration impairment, which, yeah, I know for memory, I would say I've struggled with that. I tend to try and use list and writing and calendar reminders to try and help supplement that. Apparently, stress can have an effect on that as well. So let's go back over to the study to continue. So it goes on to say, you can learn to identify what causes you stress and how to take care of yourself physically and emotionally in the face of stressful situations. Stress management strategies include Eating a healthy diet, getting regular exercise, and getting plenty of sleep. Practicing relaxation techniques such as yoga, deep breathing, massage, or meditation. Keeping a journal and writing about your thoughts or what you're grateful for in your life. Taking time for hobbies such as reading, listening to music, or watching your favorite show or movie. Fostering healthy friendships and talking with friends and family. Having a sense of humor and finding ways to include humor and laughter into your life, such as watching funny movies or looking at joke websites. Volunteering in your community. Organizing and prioritizing what you need to accomplish at home and removing tasks that aren't necessary. Seeking professional counseling, which can help you develop specific coping strategies to manage stress. Okay, so those are some of the tips that they recommend for trying to manage the level of stress that you experience throughout your day. Again, we are what we eat. So eating a healthy diet is important. The food that you put in your body will affect the type of stress and how you are able to manage that stress. Regular exercise, another way of managing stress. Not only are you keeping your body in a state of health physically, but mentally as well. Hormonally, you're changing the state of your body. So regular exercise, whether it's biking, running, weightlifting, playing a sport, is very important to help regulate the stress response within your body. And as we mentioned earlier, the importance of getting quality sleep. I would say not just getting plenty of sleep, because you can sleep for a long time, but if it's not quality, not a deep sleep, then it may not really pay off that much. So getting quality sleep, getting enough quality sleep is also very beneficial to reducing those stress levels. All right, and then there's other methods such as yoga, deep breathing, massage, or meditation. So in the last episode, we talked about deep breathing, the 4-7-8 technique, and a couple others, and the importance of how deep breathing can bring down the stress level. Another method is massage. You can do this with the help of a massage tool, or you can do this with the help of a professional masseuse. But either way, you're looking to reduce the stress that your body is feeling physically reducing the stress that your muscles are feeling. And then a good way to mentally reduce stress is meditation, taking a moment to slow down, clear your thoughts, relax. Again, a lot of time meditation is also dealing with the breath. So those are some great techniques to also help regulate the stress response. Writing, so keeping a journal, putting down your thoughts and making a gratitude list. Another great example, it helps you realize and organize your thoughts. Sometimes we are stressed simply because we feel overwhelmed with what's in our head. We may forget all the accomplishments and things in life that we should be grateful for. And by physically writing things down, you can see it. It's real. It's not just a thought. It's tangible. Hobbies, reading, music, watching your favorite show. Now, of course, you don't want to be plastered in front of a TV all day, but having your favorite show, movie, music, book, and taking time to engage in those relaxing, enjoyable activities is a way to help reduce and manage stress. Friends, family, having people to connect with, talk to, develop deep relationships with. It's important. We're social beings, We need each other to be in a state of joy and happiness, and ultimately to reduce our levels of stress. This one is very important to me as well, having a sense of humor and finding ways to include humor and laughter in your life. Although I would say I'm rather introverted, I find humor and jokes, especially dry humor and cringy humor, to be a great way to entertain, try and make others laugh as well as myself, and to open up and have a good time with others, to let others know it's okay to laugh, to relax, to take a break from all the heaviness of our world. So, laughter, joking, very beneficial. Volunteering in your community, it's amazing how much helping others helps ourselves. It feels good to help others. So, rather than being selfish and feeling like we always need something, giving back to others, especially those who are in need, is a great way to make ourselves feel better while helping others. Again, organization. A lot of times, a lot of stress can come from just being out of sorts, not feeling like we are able to accomplish everything we think we should. So again, writing things down is a great way to do that, calendar reminders, but just in general to be able to organize and prioritize the things that you want to accomplish and need to accomplish can help reduce your stress. And then finally, of course, if you're really having issues with chronic stress and you're unable to manage it, seek professional help. There's people out here who are professionally trained to help you in those instances. So never be afraid to reach out if you feel that you need help. The next article we're going to look at is called Understanding the Stress Response by Heather Jones. The stressor that triggers the alarm stage can be primary, a sudden frightening experience such as seeing a car heading towards you, or secondary, deliberately entering a stressful situation like taking an exam. During the alarm stage, you might experience increased heart rate, rapid breathing, dizziness or lightheadedness, appetite changes, cold sweats. Stage 2, resistance. During stage 2, your body tries to return to normal by bringing down your heart rate and lowering your blood pressure. During this phase, your body begins to repair itself but may stay on high alert for a while. If your body doesn't successfully recover from stage 1, it can start releasing stored sugars and fats, which consumes vital resources and may cause you to overeat foods that are not nutritious or perform other unhealthy behaviors, feel exhausted or fatigued, feel anxiety or tension, have trouble concentrating, or get sick. Chronic stress can lead to a variety of health problems, including diabetes, heart disease, stroke, high blood pressure, metabolic syndrome, mental health conditions such as depression or anxiety, sleep problems such as insomnia, increased susceptibility to infections, skin conditions such as acne or eczema, menstrual problems. So stress can actually affect several different systems within our body. It says stress can cause many behavioral, psychological, emotional, physical, cognitive, and social symptoms. Stress affects multiple systems within the body, including the musculoskeletal system, respiratory system, cardiovascular system, endocrine system, gastrointestinal system, and reproductive system. So now we can see why it's so important to manage stress properly. Stress is not just a feeling that's uncomfortable or that makes us feel less optimal. Stress can literally cause health conditions that can have a severe toll on our body. That can be felt within the musculoskeletal system as pain in aches. Again, exercise is a great way to help manage the stress within the musculoskeletal system. Yoga as well. The respiratory system. That's where our breathing exercises really come in. When you're feeling a high level of stress and your breathing, your heart rate is up. The breath is a great way to try and manage the stress that affects your respiratory system. Also, your cardiovascular system is closely linked with your respiratory system. Again, the heart rate is directly linked with the cardiovascular system, actually. And breathing can help maintain and manage that as well. The endocrine system, the gastrointestinal system, our ability to properly digest our foods for energy, for proper response of the repair of our bodies. And then also our reproductive systems can all be affected by stress. Very important to pay attention to the stress within your own body and how you're managing it. Allowing chronic stress to build will cause many health problems. Again, it can show up as diabetes, it can be heart disease, stroke, high blood pressure, metabolic syndromes, depressions, anxieties, insomnias, and other sleep problems. Weakened immune system, so infections become more dangerous. Even skin conditions such as acne or eczema. And again, related to the reproductive system, the menstrual problems as well. So that just really shows us the importance of paying attention to our bodies and how to deal with stress, and not dealing with stress in ways that cause our bodies more damage, but properly taking steps to respond and decrease the level of stress that we feel, to use the techniques that provide us a way to help our bodies to not develop chronic stress, or to reduce the toll that that chronic stress has on our bodies. That will lead to better health, to higher quality of life, and to making every moment of your life that much better. It's incredible how complex the human body is, how interrelated it is to the choices that we make and the experiences that we go through. So that's what we're going to take a look at next. So this article is called The Stress Response Cycle. It's by Julie Marks. Alright, so let's talk about what happens when the stress response cycle is not properly managed. Here it says, if you aren't able to complete the stress cycle, your body may repeat its stress response. Prolonged and chronic stress can take its toll, leading to heart disease, stomach ulcers, sleep dysregulation, psychiatric disorders, depression, anxiety, fatigue, and burnout. How to complete the stress cycle. There are several research-based ways to help complete the stress cycle and manage your body's response to a tense situation. Consider the tips below to help you cope. So here we'll take a look at some of the ways to release the response to a tense situation within our bodies. First one here is physical activity. In a fight, flight, or freeze scenario, being active may help you survive the threat and keep your body safe. You can imitate this natural response with exercise. Consider engaging in the following activities: jogging, playing your favorite sport, dancing, hiking, swimming, Pilates, and lifting weights. Actually, yeah, I would agree. I love playing basketball. It's one of my favorite sports. I like also lifting weights. And I would also add biking into here. I'm not much of a dancer, not big on jogging or running or swimming, but to each their own. You find the exercises that appeal best to you and what feels good for your body when it comes to that. No matter the physical activity you choose, try to experiment with the activities you enjoy. Everyone is different. All right, the next method is creativity. So it says doing something creative such as drawing, writing, knitting, gardening, or cooking can help your body recover from a stressful event and boost energy levels. The key is to trying something that you enjoy. Yeah, so there's some of the methods for being creative. I mean, there's many ways of being creative, but many people can benefit from some of these. Again, that's drawing, writing, knitting, gardening, cooking. I would add playing music is another great one. Podcasting, which helps you get your voice out creatively. Those are a couple other ways, but there's an endless list of creative activities. And again, to each person is going to be different depending on what you like. Laughing. Laughter is a useful way to release and express emotions you keep bottled up. Some easy ways to help induce laughter are to recall a funny story, watch a funny movie, or visit some friends who make you laugh. Yeah, stand-up comedy or even comedy podcasts are a great way. If you want to engage in more of a social situation, you can go to a comedy club. Here in Orlando, they have improv comedy as well as many stand-ups come to perform. Also, just hanging out with friends. People who they know your type of humor, you know their type of humor, and you guys make each other laugh. That's another great way. Or sometimes just being completely random in a group of people you don't even know that well. Just to make people laugh, because it makes them feel good, but it also makes you feel good to make others laugh because you know you're bringing them joy. All right, this one says crying. Crying is another way that your body releases stress. When you suppress your tears, you could be stopping yourself from a natural part of your recovery. Deep breathing. Slow, deep breathing can help your body regulate its stress response. Some examples of deep breath exercises include square breathing, which is a 4-second inhale, 4-second hold, 4-second exhale, and another 4-second hold. And you continuously repeat that. Or the 4-7-8 breath. 4 seconds inhale, 7-second hold, 8-second exhale. Also, exercises such as Tai Chi, Qigong, and yoga combine deep breathing with fluid movements to help generate calmness. Yeah, so we talked about the 4-7-8 breathing technique last week. They also mentioned the square breathing. Very powerful ways to regulate the stress response. So this next one is one that all of us benefit from, which is rest. Getting enough rest, including a full night's sleep, can ensure that your body will recover from stressful events. The National Sleep Foundation recommends that adults get between 7 to 9 hours of sleep each night. And I would add that the quality of sleep is also important. If you're shallow sleeping, then it's not going to be the same as a deep sleep. Okay, so that was an understanding on the stress response, how stress affects our bodies, how to manage it, what will happen if we do not properly manage it, best practices for managing it, just a basic overview of what the stress response is. I'm sure most of us have heard of the fight or flight response, also sometimes known as a fight, flight, or freeze response. But this is just the stress response when our minds or bodies perceive a stress and how we manage it. If we hold on to it and allow it to become chronic, or if it's just an acute response. Again, it's tied in directly to our health and how our bodies function based on how we experience that stress, how we manage it, how we cope with it, how we deal with it. So there's many things in life that are going to cause us stress, and we are not going to be able to avoid that. But we can take the proper response to try and manage it so that we aren't putting our health in jeopardy and taking years off our lives, or just living life in a way that's not optimal. That's not the way we want to experience life. So these are good tips for anybody. This isn't just for a certain age, a certain gender. This is for everyone. Obviously, we're going to experience different stresses depending on the lives that we have built for ourselves. But nonetheless, these stress response techniques, these tools, these understandings apply to all of us. And I encourage all of us to try and find the stress relief activities, the responses, the mechanisms that bring us the most amount of success in dealing with these levels of stress. We live in a society where stress is caused in so many ways. Some intentionally, some unavoidable, some avoidable, some we do to ourselves, some caused by others. Obviously, there's work stress, there's relationship stress, whether that's with your wife, your husband, your child, your parents, your friends, anyone you possibly have relationships with. Again, at work, co-workers, managers, people who, clients and customers. Many ways that stress will be caused. Even just our everyday encounters with others as we make our way through life are all ways to cause stress. How many of us deal with road rage and stress caused just by driving? So it's very common. We live in a world where the levels of stress are very high, is not managed properly. There are certain situations like airports where the stress levels are very high because it's a lot of people, it's a lot of time management, it's a lot of delays many times, and rules and regulations that you must follow. So very tense, stressful situation. Again, many people watch the news, which causes a lot of stress in your body. Some people may even be addicted to that stress, but at the end of the day, it's really not that healthy. We should be informed of what's going on around us, which mostly can be viewed through the five senses in our own lives. We don't really have to chase down nightly news for that type of information of things that are going to most likely affect us. Maybe weather, but other than that, most of that can be observed in our everyday lives. I mean, one of the examples of that would be during presidential elections. The level of stress that they try and build among the masses is just crazy. And people feed into it, and it really becomes a negative spiral. So yeah, I suggest being aware of the things that cause you stress personally in your life, finding the best way for yourself to manage it, and just being aware and practicing those techniques, I think, will bring you into a state that will help you in the long run as you develop those skills. Personally, for me, I think breathing is one of the better techniques, and exercising. I really enjoy playing basketball. That helps regulate my stress a lot. Joking and laughing with friends is another way. But then also things such as massagers or CBD has been beneficial for me as well, especially for physical pains. Aromatherapy, we'll talk about that in a later podcast, but that's another beneficial way to manage and regulate our stress levels. There's so many other ways that I haven't even mentioned, and many of these things will be covered in future podcasts. This was pretty much an overview of what the stress response is, how to recognize it, what the detriment of it can be, and how to properly manage it. So again, this was episode 2 of The Infinite Moment. I'll catch you guys next time.